This podcast has been brought to you by Cine.nl. This must you see.
Will you please listen up to what I have to say? Cause we're in for some old-fashioned wrestling today. Not the violent, oily opposer-ish kind, but the kind that involves pins and thumbs you will find. Cause it's thumb wrestling time. Yes, it's thumb wrestling time. So we will discuss pros and cons, faults and pluses of all your favorite movies. And we will ponder the merits of cinema in this WrestleMania. Cause it's thumb wrestling time. Yes, it's thumb wrestling time. Yes, it's thumb wrestling time.
Hello, pod people! Wow! Yes, that's from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Welcome to this new episode of Thumb Wrestling, in which I, Ruud Vos, speak with a different podcast each time about a certain film about which we disagree. Now, if you are one of the new listeners via Cine.nl and you have only just been listening it per episode that has popped up on the website, every once in a while I speak with people who are not of Dutch origin and I will do the podcast in English. And then it's not duimpje worstelen, but thumb wrestling. And this is the first one on Cine. I hope you dig it. Because this is episode 32, Masalana Street, episode 32 août sur terre. And my guest this time is an American national who studies and resides in the Netherlands. And he's also working very hard on his music career. His name is Toeknee Tee, and he's also brought with him an extra guest, his very lovely tiny dog, Diamond. And most of the time during our conversation, Diamond was just chilling out in the next room on the carpet. Diamond, like many dogs these days, also has his own Instagram account, and he is a very easygoing dog. And you can understand why just by listening to the music of his owner. Toeknee Tee makes hip-hop with a very easygoing flow. You could call him a rapper, but he prefers the term wordsmith. And I think he earns it. Toeknee releases a new EP on the 15th of each month, and his latest, Op de Buurt Part 2, has been released on April the 15th. I will put a link to that in the description, but you can find it on Spotify. I gave it a whirl just before recording this, and I must say that it sounds really good. Now, Toeknee was my guest on March the 16th, just about after the shit had hit the fan. In fact, I think he was the last guest we welcomed into our house before we started taking this social distancing thing very seriously. And we spoke about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yes, I'm using plural for a reason in this case because, well, in the words of many characters on Arrested Development, I made a huge mistake. When Toeknee told me that he wanted to speak about this films, I forgot to clarify a very important detail, which is this: original or remake? He was talking about the remake. I, on the other hand, understood it to be the original. And when we started talking on the 16th, that became clear very quickly. But I also knew in the back of my head that this might be the last opportunity to talk with Toeknee one-to-one. So I just decided, well, let's just record a conversation and see what happens. And I'm glad we did, because Toeknee was a lot of fun to talk to. This episode may not have ended up the way I intended, but it has the way it had to. And I like it. So, quick summaries. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a classic, a horror classic from 1974 by director Tobe Hooper. After picking up and then ditching a very strange hitchhiker, 5 hitchhikers end up at the house of the grandparents of 2 of them, the beautiful Sally and Franklin, who is in a wheelchair and quite annoying to the rest of the group. One by one, the teenagers end up at the house next door, where Leatherface resides, a homicidal maniac with a face mask made of human skin and a very large butcher's mallet. And, of course, surprisingly, a chainsaw. When Sally is the only one left standing, she flees to a neighboring shop. But surprise, the owner subdues her and takes her back to the house where Leatherface is, and the hitchhiker, and a corpse-like grandfather. She's forced to sit at their dinner, which is a horrifying scene, until she breaks out and flees the scene, leaving a very angry, chainsaw-waving Leatherface. And in 2003, there was a Michael Bay-produced remake by director Marcus Nispel, who'd previously directed the music video for Spice Up Your Life by the Spice Girls. This new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, with Jessica Biel in the female lead, follows the same broad strokes as the original. Except this time, the hitchhiker they pick up is female and she kills herself. The plot is way more convoluted, with a sheriff who turns out to be complicit in the thing, played by Arlie Emery, and a plot with a stolen baby. But it ends roughly the same, with Jessica Biel fleeing the scene with a twice stolen baby. Alright, let's go to the conversation with Toeknee Tee.
3, 2, 1, fight!
It's like, it's weird. And like, even if it's my favorite movie, like I can only see Pulp Fiction like once a year.
Yeah.
Because if I see it too much and it's just too cheeky, it's not good enough.
Yeah, you start seeing too many things maybe if it's not, doesn't get you into the feeling. You
Exactly.
start analysing it too much. You start becoming me too much.
We shot an episode from my podcast yesterday.
Yeah.
When we was at our event, because we had all these artists from around the world, and I thought it'd be nice for people to know who they are.
Yeah. You shoot a lot of, you do podcasts, but mostly with video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on Spotify and all that, so people can listen to it if they want to. But
Yeah.
I think video gives people more something to look forward to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So today is the 16th? Yeah, so you've just dropped a new single.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a
I've
new
listened
release
to
out.
it, yeah.
Had a new release out.
Yeah. Happy with it? Getting good responses?
I haven't really. I got playlisted this morning, which is cool, but I haven't really had time to put ears on it or think about it because we've been at our event all weekend long.
Yeah.
So I just I put it out. I knew what it was going to be doing, so I have to really think about it.
Yeah, and you'll have a new one out before the podcast comes out.
Yeah, I'll have one out again on the 15th. Every 15th I do a new release.
Yeah. So when I asked you about films, you immediately said, quite quickly, you came up with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
And you dislike that film,
Yeah,
but not for the reasons that I mostly get. So why do you dislike the film?
I just like the film because for me, it was just too real at the moment.
Yeah.
One, because my mom is from Texas. And so like driving down those roads to visit our family, it was like a viable option.
Yeah.
And then for it to just be like that, they could have named it like Alaskan Texas or Chainsaw Massacre, and I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
But the fact that my family was from Texas, and it's like Leatherface, he's all strong and stuff, but he's like a real person. And it's like
a big menacing figure, but he's sort of,
But it's like, if they can't stop him, how can I stop him? So it's another thing where it's like out of your control, where it's like completely not going to happen. Like if it happened in Alaska and it's like some guy that even if you shoot him, he can't die. But no, like this guy got his arm chopped off and he's still going ham right now. Yeah. So all of that together was just too much for how old was I? I think I was like 13 or 12 when I first seen that movie.
Yeah.
And then like I knew it was the remake of like the ones from the 70s, but the one that
you're talking about the newer one.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the one from the 70s.
The original ones? We can talk about the ones from the 70s, but I'm not so versed on them.
Okay.
Yeah. Because
I haven't seen the new one.
Not the newest one, but like the one with
Jessica Biel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh man. What about the one after that? It was like Leatherface or something. Oh, so you just don't even mess with remakes.
No, I sometimes watch them. I don't dislike there being remakes, but when you say we're going to talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I sort of assume
the original.
But it's all right. This is interesting because
we can go on to the original. We just have to talk about like the first one.
So, if you were to give a small review of the film, what would you say that this film is to you?
Like a critical review, or like how did the movie make me feel?
How did it make you feel, especially?
Okay. I think the movie is full of blood and gore, and I think it does its purpose of terrifying people. But I think that for me, it was just a little too real.
Yeah.
Later on in life, maybe I also what shocked me the most was just at that time in my life, like I was 12, 13.
Yeah.
Like, cause like later on I can go back and watch this, no problem. But at that moment where I'm just still getting a grip on life, it's like that. And then like there's this iconic like photo being taken sound. It's like yeah. And that song or that sound is stuck in my head for like weeks. And then every time I heard like a glimpse of it, I was like, oh my gosh.
Anything that reminded you of it got you going.
Yeah, it was like, oh no.
So it's truly like a traumatic experience that you're reliving.
It was a little bit traumatic because I just couldn't shake it. It wasn't fake enough for me to think that it could not happen to me.
No, it's just a movie that didn't work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were 12 or something like that when you
13.
saw this remake for the
Exactly.
first time. So how did you get in touch with it?
When I saw this movie for the first time.
Basically, I remember I was like at the movie theater, like I just seen the advertisement for it, and I had an interest because like the first ones, I've always heard about it, but then and then the commercials were everywhere, and obviously I wanted to go to the movies with my friends who aren't old enough to get into the movies.
Yeah.
And so my mom bought us tickets. We got in there, and I even watched it during the daytime.
Right.
And it was just like, this ain't right. This something ain't sitting right here.
Well, the original is sort of notorious for it being horror in daytime. Like even the day doesn't keep you safe. Like, well, most other horrors are during the
Nighttime,
night.
yeah.
So you even watch it during the day.
And I still feel unsafe.
Is it the same with the remake? That's mostly during the day.
It starts out during the day.
Yeah.
It starts out like real real wholesome, and then like when it's nighttime, it's like night for forever. Like you thought that shit's going down.
Yeah. So seeing it during the day does that make it even worse?
It doesn't make it worse. It just definitely it gives it that feel that like, this is definitely something real that can happen to you.
Yeah. But you've also seen the original?
I've seen the original.
Yeah.
I know they had...
Was that worse for you, or...
See, now, when I seen the original, it was after the remake, and so I was also a little bit older.
Yeah.
Like, I'm freely watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so I can clearly handle the movie a little bit more. So when I seen the remakes, I was ready for it. I was ready for it. It wasn't as bloody as...
It's definitely not as bloody now.
Yeah, because they don't have the same cinematics back in the day.
No.
So I was okay watching the remakes. And I actually watched... another reason it freaked me out is because it reminded me too much of like The House of a Thousand Corpses by Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
Like there was too much like that. It was just too much. Like, what did I just see?
Yeah.
Going on. But when I did, like I said, when I did finally loop back around to the originals, everything was chill. It was all right.
Yeah. You could handle that easily.
Even though
I would say that's a really disturbing movie.
Yeah, it is. It's not like you gotta kind of want to see that kind of stuff.
No. I thought it was really effective, especially I always thought when I was growing up, like the way it sounds is like a slasher movie, like you have loads of them, even though it sort of was one before the great age of slasher movies in the 80s. You didn't have that. Yeah, not as big as...
That's true. It was just kind of like horror, because they also had like those old...
So I just didn't know the timeline of that, basically. And I went in there like expecting, I've heard some good things about it, but I've heard that mostly from people who really like slasher movies.
So it was
and then I saw it, and it really took me off guard and how disturbing it was. Like the first time that guy gets knocked in the head with a hammer,
and then
that
he slams the door. Yeah, that was a little bit much.
Yeah,
like it's like a combination of how violent that was, and then like when you see Buddy, like I think that was like the first time we saw Leatherface for like when he slammed the door, and it's like, what is that on his face?
Yeah,
like what in the? Why do we do that?
Yeah, exactly. The guy just lies there, just convulsing.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know that would be as harsh as it would be. I just thought, well, it's just going to be blood and gore and fun with that. But no, it was actually pretty effective. Like,
it was really like I'm not gonna say like psychological, but like it did play a role in it. Like it left memorable things in my brain that I didn't really need to be there.
Yeah, and I would say that the original is actually quite psychological, especially because at the start of the film, first it sets the mood with like this bulletin of this is a true story.
Yeah.
Even though it isn't really.
It's based off of one.
Yeah, it's based off of Ed Gein.
Yeah.
Who only killed 2 people, but he was a grave robber. And
yeah. That's kind of what got me interested in as well, because when I started, like, again, this is happening in Texas. I'm like, I need to figure out where in Texas this is at, so I need to not go there.
Yeah.
And then I finally found out about Ed Gein, and they were talking about how he took his mom apart and had her in the refrigerator and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's nasty. That's also why the movie disturbed me, is because like how he was working with people's skin and like putting it on his face. Yeah, and that, and I'm like, why would you, like, you didn't clean none of that? Yeah, like, she's bleeding on you.
So Ed Gein is sort of an inspiration for 3 of the greatest villains in horror history.
Was he also inspiration for Freddy Krueger?
No, not Freddy Krueger. At least not that I know. But
okay.
Freddy Krueger is also like a mythical being in dreams, so that is sort of different. Mm-hmm. But it might be sort of partly. But Freddy Krueger is burned. That's why his face is like that.
Yeah.
But he was an inspiration for Norman Bates from Psycho.
Okay.
Also, a boy obsessed with his mother.
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock basically read about Ed Gein and then read a novel based on that, and then decided, I'm going to make this film.
That's cool.
And also. Well, maybe both of the villains in Silence of the Lambs, both Hannibal Lecter and Buffalo Bill, have parts of Ed Gein-ness about them.
Yeah.
Especially the scene where Hannibal Lecter is wearing some other dude's face.
Yeah.
So that's very Ed Gein-like. But also making a woman's suit.
From Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
That freaked me out. Not the woman's suit, because I was too young to really know what was going down.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't understand that. I thought he just had on like a costume or something. But then, when Hannibal Lecter was like feeding the kid brain like that.
Oh yeah, in Hannibal, the second film.
Yeah, that one messed me up a little bit.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Me and like I'm okay with like flesh and blood and all that, but then if it's too like, why would you want to do that? Why would you he doesn't even know what he's eating.
Yeah. Cut out a bit of his brain and feed it to him.
Just like, here, take that. Like it was caviar. Here, try that.
Yeah. And he's going down.
Yeah.
This is good.
Eating on man's brain. It's wild.
True. So that set the mood quite well.
Yeah.
At the start of the film, but then also all these radio bulletins come and just paint a picture of a very awful Texas, like sort of a legend building. Thing. Like, this is a place where
it goes
the
down.
Worst things happen that you can imagine.
I got the same feeling when I seen that movie. What was the one about the Outback? It's got like a something Wolf Creek.
Yeah,
it was the same kind of feeling, because it's like desolate area. It's nothing too off the wall where it's still realistic.
Yeah. And also hitchhikers.
Yeah, it's like, how do I just not get into this instant?
Yeah. But it's sort of reversed. Like in this film, it is about hitchhikers being dangerous, and in that film it's about hitchhikers being in danger by people.
That's my
but it goes both ways, of course.
Yeah.
You just keep thinking, Butch. That's what you're good at.
Do horror movies disturb you particularly, or
not anymore?
Not anymore.
Like, it's just whenever I think there's like, it could happen to me, but I can't fight back, I feel a certain way.
Yeah.
But after I got like 16, I realized like ain't nothing is about to come out of the movie.
Yeah. You sort of got a thicker skin for.
Yeah.
Which is also appropriate for talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Things getting nice ones.
Sorry.
It's all right.
This first one, the one I thought we were going to talk about, was also plagued by a very notoriously disastrous production. Mm-hmm. They did it very cheaply, so it also already meant that for one thing, everyone just had one costume and had to wear it for the entire production.
Yeah.
So especially Leatherface.
Is that why he
smelled so bad by the end of it?
I can imagine. Yeah.
People didn't want to eat with him
because he's got all that stuff on him and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have the guy who plays the grandfather.
The senile motherfucker.
Yeah, the guy with had a weird face, so he was on the layers of makeup, and he didn't want to go through that again. So they decided, well, let's just film all his scenes right now.
Oh,
So they did a 36-hour shoot
wow.
of scenes with him. 5 of them were him getting into makeup, but it was a 36-hour day, and it was one of the hottest days in Texas.
Oh, wow. So it was just sweating off his face.
Not just that. They're in a house that's being like wallpapered with rotting meat and stuff like that.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not what I want to be in.
No, so the smell is horrendous.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty hot. People have been working for too long, so some of them actually got sort of crazy because of that. They had some mental lapses. Yeah. At some point, one of the actors actually said that she actually wanted to kill the girl, Pam. No, not Pam. What's her name? Sally. The Sally character, because he actually thought that he was being that character. He got so into that.
Oh, so he started like consuming them like the actual. Okay.
Actually, yeah, like almost being that person.
That's crazy. Like I think that would happen to you though if you get put in certain conditions. It's like you start thinking a little bit different.
Yeah.
Especially if you were there for 36 hours and you've been eating, sleeping, and breathing this movie. It's like,
yeah. But you can sort of feel, I think, that all that horror of the shoot actually seeped its way into the film for a bit. It's also good filmmaking. The editing is really good.
It looked natural.
Sounds very good.
I think the sound effects people did their job as well. But yeah, it looked very natural. It wasn't like those slasher films where like you're waiting on something to come out and do it. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. And not just jump scares. It just sets a mood really well. Are you more attuned to that as a musician? You work with sound?
No, doesn't really matter.
No? Once you're watching a film, you're just trying to tune into the film.
Yeah, if I'm watching a film, because I work so much, if I'm watching TV, it's usually to put me to sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm more into the audio or to the video aspect of it. Like the audio is kind of backstory. Now I do see movies and I'm like, damn, that's a good ass like song for right there. Yeah. And I made this song because I get asked a lot how I got here to the Netherlands. Yeah. And so instead of just writing a static song about it, I basically made a film score. Yeah. And so the song, the background instruments, is real dynamic. And so as I'm doing my spoken word over the track, you hear like, glass breaking or something like, and it's meant to fill in the video effect, but with the music.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. What's that called?
It's called.
I'll put a link to that in the description as well.
For sure. It's out now. It's called The Legend of King T from America. Yeah. All right. It's out on Spotify, anywhere you listen to music.
Yeah. It's your way better version of the theme song for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Basically, because like I said, I get asked that question a lot, and I figured it'd be better and more artsy if I could just put it on track.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. But also with sound effects and stuff like that. Actually, just make it a story you're telling.
Make it like a movie. Like I really wanted it to resemble a movie score. I wanted it to have the emotion, like because there are ups and downs in the story. I wanted the music to have ups and downs as well.
Yeah. Also, is that something you're concerned about every time you make also a song? Like you want to tell a story with that? And
kind of, yeah. Like I prefer to call myself a wordsmith and not necessarily a rapper, because I like putting messages in my songs, but then also I like I don't know. Sometimes I gotta say things. Yeah. And it's like I'd rather talk about a topic, not necessarily like give you a sermon, but I'd rather give you something educational than talk about some BS on track. Yeah. Something that's been said 1,000 times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't want to dismiss the art form of hip hop, but the stereotype when you're not into that is that most of them are just about the same subjects, and it sort of gets interchangeable.
Even if you are in it, it's the same, yeah. Because like me personally, I didn't start making music about. I didn't start making my own music about 3 years ago. Yeah. And then before, like the 3 years before that, I wouldn't even listen to hip hop. Right. I got to an age where they say you get to an age where the new school is too new. Yeah. You don't really resonate with it. And then things that are classified as old school, you don't think you're there yet. Yeah.
So how much because I haven't seen the remake, how much does it differ from the old one?
The storyline's kind of the same,
Yeah.
in a sense that like some people are driving through Texas, take the wrong turn.
Yeah.
Now they're at the mercy of this family who's a cannibalistic, blah blah blah. I just think that in the remake they put more technology into it,
Yeah.
so the blood looks realer, the scenes look realer, things like that.
Yeah. They have more ways of showing that stuff, so they do.
Yeah, yeah. But other than that, I think it's about the same.
How did you make this known to your family back then when you were scared of it?
No,
it's just something-
no. We
yeah.
just be low key crying in grandma's house. So like, I hope we don't get a flat tire.
And you were just eating yourself up inside.
Just yeah, kind of like it wasn't something that would like stop my day, but like it's like when you're a kid,
Yeah.
and the first time when you go into like a dark area, the first thing you think about is the scariest thing you think about, which was always Leatherface.
Yeah.
And so like on the radio, I was cool, but then when we get in those moments, like especially driving, I'm like, let's keep going.
And also the character of Leatherface is quite the same in the new version as in the old one.
Yeah. He's basically just like the mentally challenged, disfigured member of the family who does all the dirty work.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, supplies the family with human meat instead of them going to the slaughterhouse, which is in the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, Toby Hooper, the director, said in an interview that it's basically just a film about a very terrible day, but it's also a very terrible day for Leatherface because all these teenagers keep popping up at his house.
Yeah.
And he
he's
doesn't
like-
know where they're coming from, but he does know that he is in trouble. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and this one in the remake though, the like the kids were kind of the ones in trouble because like the I don't know if there wasn't a sheriff or if the guy killed the sheriff, but like R.E. Ermey was an old military guy.
Yeah.
He was like playing the sheriff.
Okay.
And so like this girl, she shoots herself. I don't know why she chose to pull the gun out of her snatch and shoot herself instead of shooting Leatherface.
Yeah.
But she did it.
Yeah.
And so now they're in trouble because the police thinks that they shot Shotty.
Yeah.
But then he's working with them because he just wants to eat them all.
R.E. Emery is part of it?
Yeah, R.E. Ermey is the he's like the uncle. He's like the uncle who got his leg chopped off in the other one.
Yeah.
But he's walking up straight now, and yeah, he's like a crooked cop basically.
Wow.
And like the whole town's in on it, from like the lady who's got like a just imagine like a snack house but for like barbecue, but same thing. There's flies all up in that shit.
So it's sort of like the same as in the original. Like every time the girl goes somewhere, thinks, "Oh, she's safe now."
Yeah.
No, still wrong place, gas station, but even bigger.
Oh yeah. Because
wow.
the whole town's like, oh yeah, no, go to the Crawford Mill. Leatherface is waiting at the Crawford Mill.
Yeah. Oh wow. I should watch it now.
Yeah, you give it a try. I rated over the second one. The second one I think was called Leatherface, but the first one, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I rate that one more.
Leatherface is more supposed to be like his backstory, I think.
Kind of, yeah, but it's not so. It's still like wrong day, wrong place kind of thing.
All right.
It was like it had this iconic scene where like he was first introduced with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I could cause havoc with this. I should keep this from now on."
I will have my vengeance in this life for the next.
I sort of think this is real fun to talk about this way because it sort of feels like you were very much repulsed by the film at first, but you're having a lot of fun with it and you know a lot about it. Like
Yeah, because I've gone back to see it a few times. Like I've watched with other people. Never like, oh, let's put on Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Actually, one time I did when I wanted to scare the piss out of this girl. I was like, we here. It was raining. It was dark. I think I was either here or in Florida. Yeah. And I was like, what you want to watch? Obviously, girl, nothing. They don't know. Yeah. So I said, let's watch a scary movie.
Yeah.
We ain't get through half of that movie, cuz.
Did you introduce it like, I'm going to show you where I come from?
No, I just put it like, I'm going to show you this movie that freaked me out as a kid.
Yeah. That's honest of you.
Yeah. Just let it know, like, what's happening. Because I told her I was going to put on a scary movie. I was like, we're going to put on a real scary movie.
Yeah. But is it sort of a morbid fascination with the film that kept you drawn back to it?
I found a fascination when I mean, as I got older to handle it, like what it was, like I was fascinated because when you tell me something is a true story, I like history.
Yeah.
So it's like I want to know the history behind what went into this. Like I really want to know, did somebody really chase people around with a chainsaw?
Yeah.
This and this and this. Like who? I heard the name Ed Gein. I'm like, who is this Ed Gein person?
Yeah.
And so I did find interest like that, but it wasn't enough to make me a movie buff of it or nothing like that.
All right. Do you know where the idea from the chainsaws comes from?
Honestly, somebody said this. I don't know how true it is, but they just said the director was in like a shopping center or something, and he was like thinking of the movie. He's like, how can I make this scary? And his man said, what if somebody came in and just grabbed one of those and just started like chopping us up? Yeah.
It was basically in line in a store, and he saw them hanging there. Or maybe someone pointed out. I'm not sure about.
Yeah, something along those lines. Where they were just in the room and they saw it, and it was like, oh yeah, like that's the scariest thing possible. Let's do that.
So I did some.
Sure.
I read the IMDb trivia.
Oh, okay.
And that puts up some interesting stuff, like the actor John Larroquette, who does the voice over the opening crawl, like where they say this is a true story.
Yeah.
They say he did it all just for a marijuana joint.
I believe that though. I've done some. I've definitely mixed and mastered or recorded some people just for a joint. Like I don't mind, but I gotta like ease my mind after this. That's cool though.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
Sometimes, like if it's for my partners, and they really got to get it done. It's like I don't ever have a problem working for them. But for me it's always like I'm taking time away from my own career to help you out. So give me a case of beer, Jay, or something.
Yeah, just some way of showing a bit of appreciation is enough. But
make me forget that I'm working. Just make me forget that I'm working.
Yeah, that's cool. And another thing that I read down there was that this movie was used to launder profits from Deep Throat.
What is that?
That is like the first big porno that everyone knew about in the 70s.
Oh!
It was a girl, Linda Lovelace, played a character who... the story is that she has a clitoris in her throat.
Yeah.
So she likes to give blowjobs.
Yeah.
Which is basically a model for every other porn movie ever made since then. Because blowjobs have been there ever since.
Yeah.
But that was a very big hit. Like people went to see Deep Throat just because of the buzz. Have you seen that?
Was it by the same production company or something?
Sort of. Yeah, the company was Toby Hooper, the director. I think he didn't know if I read the trivia correctly, but was turned out to be run by gangsters. Okay, and that was the same team of gangsters that were behind Deep Throat.
Ah, and that's why they had to funnel funds.
Yeah, they funneled it into this film.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then they funneled to a film that was on a budget.
Yeah, and then they tried to stiff the whole crew by not paying them enough. And then the film, because it was a success, was bought by New Line Pictures, and they made sure that everyone got paid.
That's good.
What they would do, or at least a reasonable amount, but they took care of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, such a weird film. I watched it again yesterday.
Yeah, you had to get ready.
Sort of. Well, it's a very, very simple story, really. It's just kids show up at a house, at their own grandfather's house. Mm-hmm. They go swimming, at least some of them, but they turn up at the neighbor's house, which is the wrong house, and
wrong move.
Shit happens, and then another dude goes to look for them. He gets killed.
Mm-hmm. That's a bad thing when like you go looking for your partners and you get killed.
Yeah.
It's like we all should have not been here.
Yeah, we've all been in the situation, I think, where we're in some woods or anywhere, and it turns dark. Yeah. And you just horror movies start playing in your head.
That's the first thing you think about.
And every sound that's happening around you gets a bit of a volume boost, amplified in your mind.
Yeah. Especially because when I used to live in Georgia, the same thing, man. Like, we live in the middle of nowhere, so like every time you walk out your house in your neighborhood, even if you're just gonna go smoke in the woods, like it's like Jason's over there.
Oh yeah.
Well, we was wondering, me and my partners, because we was driving all over the Netherlands recently, and in America, like sometimes when people smoke, we see a bench, it's like, you know what, I would love to smoke on that bench. Do y'all have that same feeling here? Like, you just see a random bench, like, damn, that's a good place to smoke.
Probably.
Yeah?
I haven't smoked for, I think 15 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah, well, at some point, whenever I did it, that would be the end of my evening because I reacted to it. And I combined it with alcohol too much. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, I prefer to keep on drinking than to have the feeling that I need to go to bed. So...
Yeah. I think it hit everybody different because for me, I gave up drinking for about a month. I gave up all my vices for about a month, sex included. And when I came back, I just didn't enjoy drinking as much. Like we drank all this weekend because we had to get in the mode. But like, if that's the end of my evening, if I have some beers at like 9 o'clock with dinner, especially, I'm going out. Yeah. That's one thing also I noticed when I did stop drinking. It's like I don't necessarily need it because I was also in that mode. In America, it's common to come home, have a beer or like 6.
Yeah.
You know, after the longest day of work, like just unfucking wine. And so after I stopped drinking, I realized like, like you spend all this time like drinking, you spend all this money drinking, but then like you just kind of feel the same the next day.
Yeah.
For me, I was straight. I just I had to figure out what to do in my free time. Because like when I'm going to places, like when I was in London last week, in between airports and planes, I like to go to the bar and have a drink. It's just I don't know what else to do. Like
I see dead people. In Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Sally character, once she's tied to the chair, most she does is scream.
Yeah, she's letting it out.
But it's made sort of acceptable by just showing everything around her and everything that's going on, and also the editing. Yeah. Like loads of zooms on her. She's getting sort of completely frantic. She's out of her mind because of what she's got herself into. Yeah, and it's made really clear to you. Mm-hmm. So then it works.
I agree with that, because then, as you mentioned, that when they had us sitting down, it was like there's more going on than just like this girl scared out of her mind.
Yeah. Being tied to 2 other arms on the armchair, literally.
Yo, that'd be the freakiest thing. I'm like, get this off of me.
Yeah. I get these really good shots of her eyeballs just full of blood.
Just horror just in her eyes. Yeah. You can tell.
Yeah.
I think she did a good job of playing terrified.
Yeah. The screams sound real because they sort of are. Yeah. She doesn't want to be there. She didn't want to be there during the production.
True.
Yeah. But,
especially if there's me hanging on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to talk about a film that I haven't seen yet, so I'm struggling to find the right questions. But
maybe you can go with the original in it, and if I know about it, I'll answer it.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, you have Franklin in the original, the guy in the wheelchair. Is
that the uncle?
No, it's from the teenagers.
Franklin's a teenager?
Is one of the 5 kids in the van.
Yeah, with the glasses.
He doesn't even have glasses. He's a bit chubby.
Dark hair.
But is he even in the remake?
No, see, there was I want to say there was like somebody in a wheelchair, and no, they was all running. That would have been too easy of a target.
Yeah.
I just remember there was like a character like that though. He wasn't like invalid, but he was just lame. He was just like a nerdy kind of character. Okay, yeah. That's why I figured.
So the annoying character who everyone dislikes.
Basically, like if there were to be a 5th wheel, it was him.
Yeah. So 5th wheel still appropriate because
because there was because the Jessica Biel and they was all dodging the draft is why they was down there.
Right.
Yeah, because the 2 boys was they got their draft cards, and then that's also what R.L. Army didn't like because he was military man. He saw them burning their draft cards.
Yeah.
But then there was one, the extra guy. He was like the 5th wheel. Man.
Yeah. Arlie Emery. Yeah, what an actor.
Yeah, man, legends. R.I.P. the dead.
Yeah. One of the first roles he did was in Full Metal Jacket. Mm-hmm. And most of that opening scene, what he did was all improvised.
Was it?
It was just him doing what he did when he was in the army, when he was a drill sergeant. Yeah. And Stanley Kubrick just basically thought it was so funny that he kept on filming and made a scene around that.
I heard sometimes for music it works, but for movies I heard sometimes it's better just to freestyle, not go off of the set, let him be natural with it and let it fill in the space.
Yeah, it can be. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. You have these comedies by Judd Apatow, and he lets people just riff, and some of the films it works better than other ones. Mm-hmm. It does create a good atmosphere where everyone has fun.
Yeah.
But it also sometimes goes on for too long. And
Yeah, it's like all right, wrap it up.
yeah, exactly. You have to cut at some point.
Yeah, that's like me. I did an interview on Friday, and I was interviewing my partner, and he was giving me his whole life story, and I'm like, bro, like we can make this long, but like you're taking 20 minutes to describe like half of the story.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what happens.
Yeah,
I'm sure Kubrick also had the same problem basically on set, but then he cut it into what it is now.
So if it
also this quote from the film: "My family's always been in meat." That's what the hitchhiker says when he's picked up.
Yeah,
my family's always been in meat. It's like
yeah,
a great foreboding of what's to come.
Yeah, like that when they picked Buddy up, I do remember that it was like I'm glad that you helped him, but at the same time, like he's a little too off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, like when they in the new one, after they picked Shotty up, she blew her head off. They go to like this butcher shop, and like there's like week-old meat in there, and it's like why are you taking directions from this woman? Like there's a literal pig head with flies around it. You think it's a good idea?
There's something very wrong here.
Yeah.
Read the signs.
I feel like in those movies, all the signs are pointing like get out, like don't, like just stop, just don't do it. And nowadays though, that's never shied me away from picking up a hitchhiker. I don't pick up hitchhikers every day, but I definitely like if they look like they need it. Like, where you going? Most times, they'd be like, no, I'm good, I'm fine. All right, cool.
I have hitchhiked.
Yeah? How was it? How far did you go?
Once to Berlin.
Okay.
From Nijmegen was a contest together with my girlfriend, and we came in I think there were 15 teams, we were 8th, so dead in the middle.
Y'all Dutch people do that, because I've taken people to the border for that before. Yeah. Where they had to get from like Schiphol to some mystery location before everybody else, but they had to do it without normal means.
Yeah.
So they had to hitchhike.
I've also hitchhiked 2 times in the UK. Mm-hmm. I lived in London for a couple of months in 2009. I wanted to see Stuart Lee, the comedian, and I knew he was playing in Brighton.
Okay.
But he wouldn't play in London. And I thought, well, I have to keep paying for my hostel, otherwise I can't return. So best if I cut down costs and hitchhike there, couch surf there. So it was also my first time couch surfing.
Okay.
And so I stood there next to the road. I got picked up by a lady in a van after, I think, 3/4 of an hour of waiting. Mm-hmm. So a bit longer than normal. But she took me down to Brighton just straight away. Straight
through.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I think if you can find somebody going your way, it makes it a lot easier. You don't got to worry about hopping out and all that.
Yeah, exactly. And she was going to Brighton because she was a palm reader. She was setting up a stall there. Wanted to do palm readings.
Did you ask her to read your palm while you were
No, I don't, because I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
So I was sort of worried that she might want to tell me my fortune or would keep going on about that, but she very quickly sort of left the topic alone. Mm-hmm. It was as if she could sort of sense that I didn't believe in that sort of stuff. So she may have been psychic.
You don't believe in it, but you think she might have been psychic.
No, there was one moment that I was actually worried. Yeah. She started. We were driving along a certain part of the highway, mm-hmm. and she started talking about there was an accident here like a year ago, and so many people died, like 24 people died or something like that.
Damn,
quite a horrible thing.
Yeah.
And I was sort of in the back of my mind, please don't say you see their ghost. Please don't say you see their ghost. So I sort of very gently tried to ask her, like, oh yeah, so why are you telling about this? And she just said, oh yeah, I just had to think about it. I think about it every time I drive here. And I thought, yeah, fair enough.
Thank you for not popping out poltergeist on me.
That would have been bad. But yeah, no, but it was a cool experience.
You got some time doing hitchhiking? Yeah, I've never hitchhiked before. I tried one time because I had to get back to Clave.
Yeah.
It was after the Fear Dog Zoo, and obviously I'm wasted, so I'm not driving. But the last bus to Clave just didn't come because it's just unreliable as shit. Mm. And so I was like, I'm drunk as fuck. I'm like, damn, I can't afford a taxi back to Clave, but I have a test in the morning.
Yeah.
So me and this little fucker, we walked our asses through the night. Showed up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, we're like in bake. I'm like doing this. People are like, nobody's gonna pick you up.
Yeah.
Like, I got to try, damn it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Wolf Creek earlier.
Yeah.
When I went on a holiday to Australia, and we told people that we were couch surfing with stuff like that. That we were thinking about maybe hitchhiking. The first question we always got was, "Have you seen Wolf Creek?"
Yeah. It's like, don't you know what you're in
But just
for?
because we were backpacking, just have you seen Wolf Creek?
Yeah. That's so good. Yeah, man. When I was down in Australia, I never got around the red dirt. I got as far west as the Blue Mountains.
Yeah.
So that was kind of why I was like, you know what, I'm not going to get put in that situation. My friends were telling me how they rent, like the whole driving across the Outback just didn't seem right to me because everybody's renting these cars that are half-assed. Yeah. And it's like, no, I'm not going to be in that car when it breaks down and we're stuck here for 3 days.
We did it with the bus tour just because we thought, well, it's safer probably.
Yeah,
more people, and there's a company behind this, so at least they can reach out to someone.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I hadn't noticed it that much the first time I watched it, but Leatherface actually seems to be his name.
Yeah.
He's being called Leatherface by...
He's being called Leatherface, but I feel like at least I know in the remake, I feel like the old lady calls him something, like calls him by his name.
Right.
What she called that man? Yeah, I feel like they did it in the first one too. Sam or something like that.
I'm not sure.
Fact check Norris.
Fact check Norris here. Leatherface has the name Thomas Brown Hewitt, but only in the remake. In the original continuity, he doesn't have a name. Except Leatherface. Fact check Norris out. I didn't hear a name for him in that one. Just the hitchhiker guy, his brother calls him Leatherface.
Yeah, so maybe that is him. But I know in the remake, like when the old lady calls up to him,
Yeah.
she like calls him by his name. He's like, yes. He's like, what? But yeah. I guess that is kind of like his that's his identity. Like he had like a life before. In Leatherface, they pinpoint out he had like a life before he had that like disease for his face.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess that's why I just stuck.
Yeah.
It's weird though, like it's really, I know it's not real, but it's just weird that like your face is falling off and you think, let me use somebody else's face.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me sew this on so it's nice and tight.
Yeah, but actually he has more than one mask and more than one getup.
Yeah.
In the film, like.
Yeah, he had a few of them, whichever he's filming. Like,
yeah.
And then in the old movie, I remember that he wore a new one in the remake he wore a new one to dinner.
Yeah.
And R.E. Elmy made like a comment about it, and I thought that was funny.
Right.
Enjoying your new face?
Yeah. Yeah. They call it for the first one. They call it sort of like he has an old woman's face when he's doing his housework duties.
Yeah.
And then once he goes to dinner, he dresses up. So he puts on a black costume, like night dress, and puts on a young woman's face because that's his
taste.
His dinner face.
And then I remember
dress up face. And then once he starts pursuing the girl in the streets, then he has his murder face on.
Yeah, and that's when he had the tuxedo on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was also kind of freaking me out. How he was like, why is this man dressed up and he's like running at you with a chainsaw? Right?
Yeah.
It was.
It's a great last shot with him just being angry that she got away now.
That's that in the remake, right?
It's also in the remake?
Yeah.
They must have done it in the remake because it's a legendary shot in the first one.
Yeah, because like Shawty is like, Jessica Biel is like damn near got away, and she stole somebody's car, and somehow, some way, he does the Jason Voorhees, and like he started over there, but now he's right here.
Yeah.
I'm talking about because Shawty was running away from Leatherface for ages, and she had to run away from Army, and then like all of a sudden she's like scot free to see Leatherface. Bam.
There's sort of an interruption, but he must have gone a very long way around it to get there.
Oh, and this is after she chops his arm off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she like, which is a gangster scene, comes up out of the locker, start.
It could that be just sort of the Michael Myers disease? Like, you have the first Halloween film, which I really like. but also already sort of sets a precedent of him being unable to die and just popping up randomly.
And I never really liked that because like they always portrayed Michael Myers as supposed to be like Shotty's brother, you know. So like if he
killed his sister with a knife, at least in the first one.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like him and the old woman, they're like brothers and sisters.
Yeah. And
so like for him, like what makes him invincible but her not?
Yeah.
Because his mission is to kill her, but if he's invincible, then she should be invincible.
The same DNA.
Yeah, you know, like it came out the same snatch. Like he should be straight. Like I remember in Halloween H2O, when he was pinned down on the front of the van, and then she shot him, and he's still like 2 movies later.
Yeah, exactly.
It was shit like that combined with Leatherface. So I'm like, you know what? Things are too real right now. Like, holy hell. Yeah. Halloween H2O was the first Halloween I seen, and it was another scene.
Yeah.
It was just when Shotty's in it's like a truck stop or something, but nobody's there.
Yeah.
And then like Shotty gets killed in the bathroom. It's like another one of those things. Like this could totally happen to me.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I am not going in that bathroom.
Like with Psycho, when people were afraid to take showers.
See, I've never actually seen Psycho, but I've seen the
scene.
The cutaway. I've seen it before.
Yeah.
And I heard it has messed with people. That and like a scene from Psycho was with Norman Bates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that was very traumatic for people.
Yeah, and Jaws for people who want to go swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jaws wasn't realistic enough for me. Like I was cool on that one. Like, it was just unrealistic enough for that. Like I could not be scared of it because I used to be a swimmer.
Yeah.
So I like being in the water, but I used to live in Hawaii when I first seen Jaws as well.
Yeah, and
so
explained well enough that this is a monster shark. This is not a real shark.
Yeah. But in Hawaii, we used to always hear about big ass like great whites and shit like that. And so it's like it was kind of an option, but this one was like eating boats and stuff like that. It's like, I ain't worried about that.
No, the sharks don't do that.
No.
Yeah, Diamond clearly loves you.
Yeah, he do.
Yeah.
I'm my best friend.
Why is he called Diamond?
So my mom was the one who bought him, and she named him Diamond because he reminded her of a black diamond.
Right.
And then when I started taking over, I didn't want to change his name because he was already like 2.
Yeah.
So I was like, it just makes sense. Keep it Diamond. I don't mind it.
And so there wasn't a David Bowie reference in there?
No.
People have pointed out to you.
No, I don't know it, actually.
He's made a record called The Diamond Dogs.
Okay. No.
There's a song as well.
He's got some other song references, but not that one.
Improvementazo.
So I also asked you, but this is a weird question to ask. One, because the reason you dislike Texas Chainsaw Massacre is mostly because it's too realistic for you.
Yeah.
And the other one is I haven't seen the version that you are talking about really, so it's quite hard to say, well, how would you improve that film and try to make it even better for me as well?
I don't know if there's a way you can improve the film because I don't think it was a bad film. I just dislike it because of the emotions it left within me.
Yeah.
And in order to change that would change the impact of the film, and so I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Also setting it somewhere else so it makes the
You could have they could have called it like the Alabama Texas Chainsaw or Alabama Massacre or something.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh yeah, cool, it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, Alabama's a lot closer to me than Texas was. But yeah, they could have just called it something else and made him like more destructible, and I would be like, okay, make it more far fetched. So I know that it can't happen to me.
Yeah.
Then I'm okay with it. But if it can actually happen, nah.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. That's the stopper right there.
Yeah. Don't make the fear too real.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Because when I was small, I used to watch like stuff like what's it called? Unexplained Mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
like the TV show,
Mysteries?
Unexplained Mysteries, yeah.
Yeah.
Fact check Norris.
Fact check Norris here. Again, the program mentioned is called Unsolved Mysteries. Fact check Norris out. I used to watch one episode incessantly, which was about ghosts, and the effects. If I think back to it. Like they're telling a story as if it's real, and they have some very cheap effects in there to make it as scary as they can.
Yeah, like little cinematic stuff.
When I was that age, I bought it. I bought it completely, and I was afraid in the dark because of it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We bought a lot of things back then, like wrestling. Like we all grew up and realized, like, yeah, it's a little bit different than what we've seen. I think maybe it just takes, like, you know, separating yourself from it for a little while and coming back and you realize what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
See it from another angle.
Yeah. But it did get me into stuff like the X-Files after that, because
I never could get with the X-Files, man, because, like, the X-Files was, like, it was supposed to be about aliens, but, like, it wasn't enough, like, in there for me. Yeah. So it was more suspenseful than anything, and I didn't like that because I need to see what's coming after me in my sleep.
Not seeing it makes it worse.
Yeah, it's like they're just talking about this idea that could look like anything, come out of anywhere. Like, nah.
Yeah. If you say it like that, Texas Chainsaw Massacre actually shows you quite a lot. It doesn't show the actual slaying, but it shows you the result of the slaying.
Facts.
All the stuff in the room.
That, and then like all the dismembered people and stuff like that. And
but still leaves a lot to the imagination.
I think so. I think in the remake, it's a while before you actually see Leatherface, and then when you finally do, it's like the scariest thing ever because that's that iconic like door slam scene. Yeah. You see his face for the first time. You see his face for the first time, which is like the face of Buddy who got killed first. Yeah. And so it's like.
I also asked you for 3 film recommendations.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with
Tip 1.
I'm gonna go with the Camp Trapathon after movie, which isn't released yet because we just filmed it this weekend in Friesland. Yeah. That's gonna be something serious. I know it's gonna be like a movie. How much work we put in. So this last weekend we had what's called Camp Trapathon. Yeah. Which is it's a music producer and writers link up. Yeah. So we rented out, my record label rented out a villa in the Friesland, and we filled it with 2 studios and had artists come from around the world. Yeah. And I had my shooter, my cameraman come from Latvia. Yeah. And he shot the movie the whole weekend. Yeah. For like an after movie.
So, after movie, but if you're saying that it feels like a whole movie, then he probably has loads of footage. And,
Heaps, cause oh man, my man was just rolling and rolling.
It's almost like a full documentary.
Basically, that's what I wanted it to be like. I wanted because the after movie is gonna feature the music that we made. Yeah. So I wanted like this whole weekend we've been on media blackout. Nobody's been able to post on Instagram things like that. Yeah. So I know all of our fans are waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm really keen on that, like, cause
absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Oh yeah, cause I know they just been waiting on me to post something, but it's like no, I'm not gonna do shit. No. And my shooter's always good. Shout out Osvid. He's always really good at how he does cinematic things. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what he comes out with.
Yeah, and he's already pulled some very good things like camera work where you go, I want to see that.
Yeah, there were times we didn't get to do as much as we could because Corona actually affected that. Like he had to leave yesterday because he had to leave yesterday because we were so far from Schiphol. Like it was the quickest he could get out, and then his flight for yesterday or his flight for tomorrow was canceled, so he had to fly this morning. Yeah, because Latvia's not letting anybody in.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, shit.
But it's alright. I think this year I'm trying to believe like everything that needs to happen be happening. Yeah. And so whatever was filmed there, we got enough.
You've worked with him a lot up to now?
He's done most of my music videos for the last 2 years. Or 3 years about now, yeah.
Yeah. Like the one you did in Amsterdam, King of Holland?
Precies. Yeah. He shot that one. That was actually the first one we shot together. And then the rest is just history. We shot like one here in Nijmegen, at my old house.
Unbarmhartig.
Precies.
That was good.
Thank you. Yeah,
they were both very good.
Apparently people fuck with that song, so I'm really happy. Like sometimes when I write music and I think it's too personal, I think cause like I like writing music that people can relate to. Yeah, I feel like that would give it the best feeling, and it's kind of showing because those videos have the most views on them. Yeah, but sometimes I think maybe it's too much.
No, but putting some of your own personality and stuff in that, like it also gives some people something to hook into, like getting to know you and to connect with. Yeah, like it's something that's really you, but. That's also sort of universal. Everyone has their own quirks, and getting to know other people's quirks is also a very...
For me, it's big, like, when somebody's hearing my shit, and they're like, yo, I see that guy in the grocery store. He's talking about me seeing him in the grocery store. Like, those are the kinds of feelings I like to portray, because I feel like that smile gets people giddy, then like, oh, man, they're more like, yo, you should hear this. Yeah. He's talking about last Wednesday.
I know this. I was there.
Exactly. Great. Exactly.
Tip 2.
Yeah.
But then I always got to big up Pulp Fiction because I don't know, it's one of those movies where it doesn't make you think.
Yeah.
But if you watch it a few times, you realize you wasn't thinking hard enough.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
I can understand that, yeah.
I missed something in that.
Yeah.
And for me,
It's one with a lot of detail in there.
Yeah.
I've actually done an episode about Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
And it's in English, so you could listen to that. If
I might have to listen to that one.
Yeah,
See y'all's opinion on it.
Yeah.
What I really
listen
like
to
about
them.
Pulp Fiction is that, like, if you watch it, like, I mean, the first like 3-4 times, the scene changes are so often. I'm trying to remember if Vince went and got his watch before he met with Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
Because like the way they like when they show up in those clothes, it's like they already cleaned up the car.
They cleaned the car, yeah.
Yeah.
They come just from that to that location, yeah.
Yeah. But then at the same time, like they see like Vince sees Buddy. What was the boxer's name? Butch. They see each other for the first time, and it's like I feel like
they hate each other.
Yeah, I feel like they've already gone through some shit right now.
Yeah.
You know?
And Butch probably keys his car, so that's the...
That's a strong assumption right there.
Yeah, but it's probably that way. They meant it like he's probably keyed the car after that interaction there in front of Ving Rhames.
Okay. Maybe
And then they meet each other when he goes to get the watch and...
Yeah, and that's when he wets him up in the bathroom. Yeah. Because it was like on site. Like, oh, I know why you're here. Bow.
Yeah. Toast pops up.
Yeah. Done, cuz. And then my last one would probably be...
Tip 3!
No, man. I like to throw Finding Nemo out there. Because Finding Nemo is just a good, wholesome movie.
Yeah.
I think it's got a good meaning to it. That movie is a lot of why I went to Australia.
Right.
Yeah, because like I was like, that's like a lot of things that they're my 3.
And it also shows how well Willem Dafoe can act without actually seeing his face.
Facts. Yeah, that's the guy who played Marlon?
No, he's the black fish in the tank with the dentist. I don't know what his name is, but he's the scarred
with
fish.
With the scar. Yeah. I don't know actors' names like that, but I do remember the voice now. Yeah.
Yeah, normally he has this very weird face. He's in the film now, the Lighthouse, which uses his face to perfection. I'll show you a picture.
Let me see a little something.
You'll see him and you'll say, that guy, I know him. Because he's been in a lot of great films. But yeah, Finding Nemo, it's a very modern classic.
Oh yeah, it's touching too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like even the guy Scar, like the fish Scar, like looks like him, like how he moves his mouth, like
Yeah, exactly.
And so we fought and we battled, yes, we beat each other up. Both of us tried hard, we both failed. Yes, I had you by the thumbs, but neither of us won. Only the love for cinema prevailed.
And that is it for this time. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Toeknee Tee, for saving this episode. And since recording this conversation, I have had the pleasure of watching the remake. I say pleasure because, well, viewing a film is always a pleasure for me, but it didn't really push my buttons. I wouldn't have given it the thumbs up if I'd known beforehand that Tony meant this film. But I guess that's all for the better in this case. And do I have a recommendation for you, the listener? Yes, I do. I'd say go and grab an account for the Go Short online film festival if you haven't already. The actual festival couldn't be held this year for obvious reasons, but most of the films can be watched online right now up until the 13th of May. Loads of lovely shorts, among which, for instance, Father, one that I've seen on the Dutch Film Festival last year, was really good, a short documentary about a man who meets his son for the first time, his teenage son. And one I also really liked was Betty, a short animation which started out as a sort of a funny cartoon with a director's commentary, but that is used as a framing device to tell a deeper story. Alright. This has been a cinema production, hosted and edited by me, Ruud de 20ste Eeuwse Vos, and the jingles are, as always, by the genius that is Roy Grutters. You can find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and hate mail can be directed at duimpjeworstelen@gmail.com. See you Wednesday after next. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we have an enormous round of applause, please, for our host, who has once again succeeded in bringing to us a plethora of top-notch, cinematographically themed entertainment. We have had an absolute ball, have we not? Next time on Thumb Wrestling.
Ik ben echt een zakker voor shots van bomen. Van die wiegende bomen die je dan hoort kraken en piepen. Misschien ben ik daarom wel zo'n Terrence Malick fan. Dat is ook een bomenfetischist. Van heb ik jou daar.
Ja.
En dan met Emmanuel Lubezki.
Porno is zeker een term die vaak is gevallen bij deze film.
Bomenporno. Ja.
This podcast employs a strict only like and subscribe if you really want to policy. Okay, bye.